I'm Ashley, and this is Kevin, and we are Sidetracked by Adventure. We're full-time RVers traveling across the United States with a goal of visiting all 63 national parks. So far, we've been on the road about 18 months, traveled over 17,000 miles, explored 31 national parks, and visited 27 states. This week, we made it to Zion National Park in southern Utah, known for some of its epic hikes and epic crowds. There's a lot of hype around Zion National Park. We have been asked countless times by fellow RVers and NPS geeks whether we went to Zion. Last week, we finally got our chance to explore. So, did it live up to our expectations? Debatable, but I will say there are beautiful canyons and views.
The biggest draw to Zion has to be these two hikes, the Narrows and Angel's Landing. It attracts hikers from all around the world. Angel's Landing clocks in about 5.4 miles, while the Narrows is about 9.5.
We are going to put these two trails in a head-to-head 5-round battle to determine which trail is the winner. The categories are uniqueness, the reward, worth the challenge, trail conditions, and fun. Each round will be scored with 5 footprints, 5 being the highest score you can receive, and at the very end, we will see which trail wins out. Round 1, uniqueness.
Okay, honey, what are we doing today?
A terrible hike.
What terrible hike are we doing?
We're going to Angel's Landing, which is going to terrify me.
Why is it going to terrify you?
Because it's really high up.
Wish us luck.
Angel's Landing. While most of this trail is fairly typical of canyon trails, with some fun challenges heading up, like Walter's Wiggles, a tight section of 21 switchbacks. The real draw, though, is the last half mile of the trail, which is a very steep ascent up a narrow ridgeline using chains and cables with nothing but sheer cliff edges and air on either side of you. It is definitely not for the faint of heart or for anyone with a fear of heights.
The last chain portion is also a physical challenge. It will have you breathing heavy as you climb your way up to the top. Throughout the climb, I was constantly thinking, I can't believe they let you do this. And making sure I had 3 points of contact at all times. What makes the hike unique is the use of chains. The chains give you a security/confidence you need to get to the top.
Okay, this is nuts.
Our rating
Holy
for
cow.
Angel's Landing is 4 footprints.
All right, Ash, what are we doing today?
We are doing the Narrows hike today. It's about 6 a.m. It's windy and cold, and we're gonna freeze in the water up to our waist. But it'll be beautiful.
Hopefully. And today's flash flood warning is possible.
The Narrows. The Narrows bottoms up hike is really something special. After the first mile on dry land, you go into the river and hike upstream for about 4 miles through the canyon to Big Springs. Hiking through freezing water that ranges from shin height up to your ribs in some parts, weaving through stunning tight canyon walls, definitely makes this one of the most unusual hikes we've ever done. Hiking through water is definitely rare and is really what makes this hike so memorable. Plus, the river, the canyon, the landscape, it's absolutely gorgeous, and it all comes together in such a way that you'll find yourself getting lost in it. Our rating, 5 footprints.
Round 2, the reward. Each of these trails boasts some epic views as the reward. Angel's Landing, the view. Yes, it is unbelievable. A 360 degree of panoramic views. The best view is looking down and finding the tiny spot where you started. Looking down and seeing the sheer cliff edges will make your legs weak. But the best part is actually after the summit, when you make your way back down the chain portion. The reward is a sense of accomplishment, a feeling, I did it, I survived. The sense of pride you feel on the way down when everybody's asking if you got to the top is pretty awesome. Our rating, 5 footprints.
The Narrows. While most of this hike is beautiful, the star of the trail is a walk through Wall Street, a stunning section of the river where the canyon walls narrow to about 20 feet apart. The water gets a little deeper, and you walk through in awe to a much needed rest on the floating rock. Our rating, 4 footprints. Round 3. Worth the challenge?
Steeply paved, but up there is where we're heading. Angel's Landing. The whole hike is a challenge. First, you have to battle the crowds, and to be honest, we were the first ones on the hike, so there was no crowds to contend with. But later that day, there's a 3-hour wait just to get started. Then the elevation and the switchbacks, where your endurance and cardio come to play. And the toughest part, the change section, where you're overcoming your fears of heights, pushing your body to its limit, and in our case, wind. You're constantly battling the trail, but that's the appeal of the hike. It makes you earn it. Our rating, 5 footprints.
The Narrows. The Narrows is definitely a difficult hike. Hiking in water, feeling your way along rocks and boulders that are slippery with a current, and trying to avoid ending up swimming is exhausting. You will use muscles you normally don't. Your ankles, knees, and hips get twisted and used at odd angles for hours. You put a lot of pressure on your arm and your walking stick to keep you upright. Plus, the water is really cold, and you will be wet for most of this hike. So, there's plenty stacked against you. However, hiking the Narrows is absolutely worth the fatigue you will feel at the end. To overcome the challenge of this hike, just wear appropriate gear. Rent the boots, the stick, and if it's really cold, the pants or dry bib. It's just a different set of circumstances than you are normally presented with. The trail takes time, requires a different level of care, and some different skills. But if you're prepared, you'll be easily able to tackle this trail. Our rating, 5 footprints.
Round 4. Trail conditions. Angel's Landing. Most of the trail is paved, which is a good and bad thing. Good because you have consistent footing most of the way up and down. The change section, however, is not paved. You have to contend with the narrow ledges where you barely have room for your feet, gaps, large oversized steps to climb up and down on, places for you to straddle 2 boulders and shimmy your way through. All very tough conditions. Now imagine having to do this hiking up and down with all these people. There is barely enough room for you, and now you have to pass or let someone pass you on a ledge. Again, we went really early and didn't have to deal with this much, but I can't imagine doing this midday when thousands of people are on the trail. No, thank you. Our rating, 3 footprints.
The Narrows. The first mile of the trail is paved, known as the Riverwalk. It's well maintained and easy to follow. At the end, you'll see a few stairs down into the river. The rest of the way is understandably not really a trail. You won't find any trail markers or guidance. We were lucky in that we had a shuttle driver who really laid out the trail for us. What we should expect to see. A junction here, a white boulder that would alert us when we've made it to Wall Street, a line of ferns along the right side before the water gets much deeper. Without that, we would have been a little lost. Like a lot of people we passed on the way out. A lot of people asked us how far Wall Street was and where to go. While you can know the mileage of the whole trail, it's really hard to gauge when you're in the water. In my opinion, it would be very helpful if NPS put some signs to let people know how much farther Wall Street and other landmarks were along the way. Our rating, 4 footprints.
Oh, that looks deep.
Huh?
That looks deep.
Round 5. Fun. We had a lot of fun on both of these hikes. It helped that we made sure to get up really early, took the earliest private shuttle we could get, and we went midweek. The result was that at 6 a.m. we had both trails mostly to ourselves. So the peacefulness and solitude definitely allowed us to enjoy these trails more than if we had gone midday with the crowds.
Angel's Landing. Did we have fun? Absolutely. But more in a sadistic way. It was challenging, scary, and unforgettable. This is one of those hikes you'll be talking about for years to come. It's a must-do when you're in Zion. Our rating, 3 footprints.
The Narrows. We had this trail to ourselves the entire way in. What a magical experience that was to be the only ones hiking through the river in the canyon that early. So we're not that far in. I'm already at my waist. And it's cold. We had a lot of fun exploring, yelping and laughing about how cold the water was, and just taking time to soak it all in. We both also really love a challenge, and a water hike was definitely a new and exciting challenge for us to tackle. Our rating, 4 footprints. So, how do these trails stack up?
It was a close battle, but the Narrow takes it with 22 footprints compared to Angel's 20.
We'd say both of these trails are a must when you visit Zion, but you might enjoy Narrows a little more.